Every other time with Eric, the recap episode, man. I just wanted to take time to just recap the journey it's been to 5,000 subscribers. 5,000 subscribers is, in some would say, is a little, some would say is a lot. For me, it's been an epic journey. First of all, I want to thank all the fans, everyone who subscribed. That means you believe in what we're doing here at every other time. It has been indeed an interesting journey, man. Balancing a day job that takes so much of my time, also while trying to bring you the most revolutionary content that's ever been out of where we're from, So I just wanted to recap on all the episodes we've done, the highlights, the funny moments. We started off with, first of all, if you haven't subscribed, now it's the journey to 20,000. We'll do a recap at 20K. We started off with Moaf from the famous Ikonini platform. Ikonini is a platform I used to watch. Actually, I still do watch, but I more listen because I listen to it sana in transit on my way to work, etc. Whenever I'm not engaged. Very funny guys. I reached out to Moaf. It just coincided with a time where an aircraft had crashed, and he was like, "Oh, you're a pilot. Come give us some insight." The rest is history, man. Now we've built a camaraderie that it's an open door policy. He can come on my platform. I can go on his platform. And I think that's also something we're really trying to do as every other time. We want to show people that there's 8 billion people on this earth. There's enough to go around. If I come on your show, you come on my show, it's not that I'm going to steal your fans. That's a very short-sighted point of view. So I got to shout out the whole team, Moaf, Ian, Rapture the Scientist. They're actually pioneers in the game. And every time I've gone there, I think I've made 2 appearances or 3 since that first time, and it's been a pleasure. Moaf came on, gave us his life story. It was actually my first time doing a life story. So
Nisa.
When do you meet your wife? At what point?
2014, when I'm still like a player in my own way.
Is she in the industry also?
No. She wasn't in the industry. It was just like scrolling through Facebook. Then you see this girl. We used to slide into DMs like,
yeah.
So nika slide into your DM. Alafu tukaanza flat kidogo. Then took out for coffee. Then
the rest is history.
So
and there's evidence.
Mm-hmm. So each time I meshika.
But as we speak, Moaf is actually in transit. He has a staycation. So he's on the way to take his wife for a nice treat. It's had to pass by. How kind of him. It's not lambistic. That's actually what real life is about. People need to know. It's not about when you find someone you love, you're building a life together. It's nice to actually do nice things together. So don't believe the BS.
Yeah, don't believe the BS. Just know that your mom and your dad were strangers once. And if they thought the way you wanafikiria, ungeenda hata shule.
Yeah.
Like you needed your mom to... Women normally ground us.
So what's that like, man? I ask any chance I get, because I'm recently married, been with my wife now, together 4 years, married barely a year. And I always ask, whenever I have a chance, in fact, sometimes people maybe think I'm weird. What does fatherhood do for you, transitioning into fatherhood?
Fatherhood for me, I always say like, maybe I used to listen to so much rap music that I felt like it made me want to be a father. Because there used to be those things.
Dear mama.
Be a father to your... Yes, akina dear mama. Like I never knew my dad was a stranger, blah, blah, blah. So when this happens, I was like, I'm not going to make the mistakes that I've had these other people talk about, that I grew up without my dad. So I was like...
So hip-hop played a real impact
like
in Moaf's life. Like, it was your compass in a lot of things. And, and thank God the right things, Because that could also be, could have been a guy, a gun-wielding guy, Yeah.
Like, people have religion. I always say my religion is hip-hop. Like, the way something is going to make you look at life in a certain way. So, independent thought, whatever. So, yeah.
My chops are getting better as we go. I'm sure as the avid fans have been seeing. I'm getting more comfortable in this groove. And, so people got to also see Moaf in a different light. His whole journey from being a starehe guy to being a infamous school absconder, and then going and finding his way in the hip-hop society in Kenya, so much so that he was fronted and actually headhunted to be the pioneer of Ghetto Radio, which is now a big brand in Kenya, by all means. It's actually one of the biggest radio stations. So shout out to Moaf, man. That was episode 1, That was our launch. Shout out to my wife. I remember she bought me a cake at 100 subscribers. That's someone who really believes in the journey, and contrary to popular belief, despite what people say, I think a wife is important. Then we did episode 2. Episode 2, I believe, was Caliph Cairo.
So anyway, January sasa started tamaking properly, and God is good. February I get a job. Na mniyo kutuenda kutamak tu. Because you go to a place.
So what are you saying? You're pitching yourself. You're saying,
bro, I'm so naive at that point.
You're telling me. Are you telling guys me I'll sell for you this car?
Yes. Like, and I'm 18. I'm skinny. Like, tumepararo umetoka high school, and 4 guys didn't think I was serious, but one guy listened to me and he gave me a job.
That's how it started.
Yeah, like it only took one guy who was like, I'm crazy enough to hire this kid. Let me see.
So now, when you enter a field like that now, do you have to do further research? Or you're learning on the go?
I started learning on the go. The good thing is, by the time I was 18, I had so much information about cars. Remember, I started reading about cars nikiwa ma class 6. I'm reading auto magazines. This is like the new BMW 369. Yeah. So I'm reading this stuff. Instead of paying attention to science, in high school, it even becomes worse. I'm reading those, Top Gear used to have a magazine.
And I do. My brother used to always have the Top Gear.
Yes.
Yeah,
so imagine you're reading those Top Gear magazines instead of paying attention to titration. So imagine by the time of 18 when I'm deadly. So I go, and it didn't take me long for me to like make a footing. Because I got the job in Feb. March I closed my first deal.
And what's the typical commission on a car sale?
Bro, I remember my first take home was 56,000.
That's good.
Yeah.
At 18.
Yeah, but those was two cars, and I gave all that money all that cash to my mom. That's Jaisa.
And I'm sure that first 56 you start saying, if I sell 10, I'll have 560. If I sell 20,
it doesn't work like that.
It doesn't work like that.
It doesn't work like that. Life has a way of making you mature up, and not even life. Let me say God. God gives you what you can handle.
Man, what a guy! What an interesting guy. Hate him or love him, he has guts. He's someone who is pushing the envelope of what is possible. Here is a guy who is selling cars unconventionally through an online platform. He's young. He's also now selling aircrafts. He's selling aircraft services. That means you can actually buy or rent out or charter rather a plane. Something revolutionary. It's just demystifying what are the capabilities of luxury in Kenya, what is available. The fact that it actually makes more sense sometimes to charter than to fly commercially. Controversial as well. He came back a second time in the heat of what was a very unique time in Kenya. We had the Gen Z movement, what is now known as the Gen Z movement, which later turned out to be a movement for the search or the want for better governance. So what was the origin, in your estimation, of...
No. What triggered this whole thing was the finance bill. Yeah. And what even triggered it more, I personally sell cars. I drive a car that's worth around, let's say, 6 million. I pay insurance around 150,000. That's around 3.5%, give or take. 200,000 thereabout. 150, 200,000. So you come and that insurance, I don't pay it cash. I have to take another loan to pay that insurance. So nakatangwa every month. Because I'm in business, I'm running other things. Then you have someone like this MP for Molo comes and tries to justify that the government wants to add another tax that is almost equal, if not equal, to whatever I'm paying in insurance. And now this is government tax, so meaning there's no option for me to even finance it. I have to pay. And over and above that, the way they're talking to us, the way they're trying to pass across these points, or they want to taxes, the arrogance.
By the time you give out 20 million in public,
yes.
Do you know Elon Musk with his $200 billion will not just give you 20 million?
No. And they won't even come with it in cash.
That's a mindset of someone who's not earned that money. Will the movement ever be happy? Because
no, it's very...
It can reach a point where every move is over-scrutinized.
No, to be very honest, it's very... Logically speaking now, it's very... You cannot appease a mob. It's very... You cannot make everybody happy. But there are actions you can take that will make the majority happy and it won't get down. Like let me give you a very good example. We were not happy with Ruto's regime all along. Truth be told.
People were quietly disgruntled.
We were quietly disgruntled.
Would you
I
say-
personally have made, even before the movement, I personally have made videos calling out Murkomen, specifically for NTSA. Because I'm a car dealer. We've been in a state where the most solid vehicle transfer website had issues for a very long time, and we were losing a lot of money as car dealers. And I made videos to call him out. So you can already see there was a bit of disgruntlement. What tipped everything was the finance bit.
And he came right in the thick of things. And I say controversial because at the time, after leading that famous march that they actually breached parliament, a day after or 2 days after, he actually publicly took a step back and said, you know what, I don't see the point of going to State House, which came with a lot of backlash. And people called him a sellout. People said he was paid. People said that he's not pro-movement. And the guy still stands tall. He took a pragmatic approach. He's a businessman. He sells stuff. Also a pilot, which is quite inspiring because for me, of course, I come from that industry too. So we share that in common and we're able to share about that. So I quite liked both Caliph episodes. And then I believe episode 3 was, that was Kibe, right? Episode 3 was the famous, the Andrew Kibe. First of all, shout out to Kibe, man. Kibe kept time, man. Kibe is, again, controversial guy, but me, I always identify the human. If you read my bio, to humanize the person behind the persona. So Kibe came through. We had a cup of coffee. He had a bite. And before we know it, he said, yo, let's make magic. And he came and indeed we made magic. We had such interesting banter.
So my buddy from Stato tells me, hey, let's go. I want you to meet this guy. This guy has mad chums. Me, like the langa that I am, I'm like, hey, bro, mad chums.
Dallas.
Yeah, Dallas. Hey, guys, I'm even seeing shindes and shit, you know. So I'm like, hey, let's go. So it takes us like a whole hour to get there, bro. It was the weirdest shit. Bro, the place is right there, but we were unable to get it. For a whole hour, we just picking laps around Gong Road, inside, looking for the place. The GPS is not working. For a whole hour, bro.
Some El Chapo shit.
A place that is 5 minutes away. It took us an hour. You get by the time getting there, I'm pissed off. I'm like, what is this? We're in one of those Uber chaps where my knees are on the dere's forehead. But, you know,
Tall guy struggle. Man.
Yeah. I'm like, what the fuck is this? We get there, as soon as we're driving in, I see 2 Escalades. And I'm like, I know these Escalades. I've seen them before. These ones belong to Sonko. So I asked my buddy, hey, Sonko is here. My buddy says, oh, it looks like those are his cars. So when we get there, just as soon as we get there.
Yeah. This is Upper Hill somewhere.
No, Ngong Road.
Ngong Road, okay.
Yeah. So just as soon as we get there like this, we light the car. The guy we have to meet has come in another car. Okay?
Yeah.
At the same time, they were busy saying hi. Then I look, I see Sonko there. And as I take a step forward, everybody in the bar stands up.
Is there fear? What are you thinking?
Bro, I'm wondering what's going on? Because why is everybody standing up? Why is everybody at attention? Bro, it's a small bar, so they're like 15 guys.
Yeah.
But everybody goes up, but Sonko.
I got to paint Kibe in a different way than anyone had seen. And even from some of your reactions, I think it's the only interview where eventually when I peeled back the layers, the guy actually came out and, started talking about his trials, his tribulations, his outlooks, his experiences in an unguarded way. So which I think is actually a timestamp in history. I believe people who look back at that interview and remember that I was the first soldier boy. So Kibe was a really nice one. Kibe boosted, shout out to Kibe, man. He gave me quite a lump sum of subscribers, man. Almost, I think, 1,000, Kibe has an army behind him, and shout out to the Kibe army. I believe Kibe is coming back strong. People have tried to pull him down. I don't subscribe to that, man. I believe Kibe has always been at the forefront of revolutionary things. So, however he reinvents himself, he's coming back strong. So, shout out to you, Andrew Kibe, man. I really appreciated what you did for me and the platform. After Kibe, I think I had the A-star episode. Wow, what another roller coaster. Esther is a friend of the show as well. Esther gave me my launch on CTA, where I told my life story, and I was able to pivot now to this. Of course, it was all something that I had already imagined, contrary to popular belief. But him actually inviting me on his platform played a big role. Wow, Esther came and gave us an omnibus. I think he gave us 7-part episode. Also controversial in its own right, because Esther was speaking things that people are scared to speak, because he's a card-carrying Christian with no apologies, and some of the spiritual concepts that he espouses are crossing the red line to some, like, how dare you, they're heresy, because church is supposed to be safe, church is supposed to be, go to church on Sunday, say hi to the pastor, go home and jolly well. Here's a guy telling you I was talking to God. God told me. Yeah, just put up him saying how God told him right here.
God asked me one of the craziest things. Text me again to Hemingway's for breakfast. Then asked me one of the craziest things. He's like, write a list of anybody you want to interview on CT. I'm like, hey, Uhuru Kenyatta. You get, I'm writing, whatever, or Raila. What? He's like, okay, Yani, you're limiting yourself to Kenya. I'm like, shucks. I want to go to Pompeii. I want to go wherever. He's like, Yani, you're limiting yourself to Africa. But me, I always say CT is Africans to the world. Not interested in none. I can do Jungus, but they have to have Africa affiliation because it's Africa's time to the world. So I'm like, okay, Trevor Noah. He's like, then he asked me this question, and I was like, okay, now this one, I need to just submit this list. And this is how I ended up submitting my list to God. He told me, Yani, you're limiting yourself to the living. And that question baffled me. I'm like, are you telling me?
What does that mean?
You're limiting your CTAs to people who are alive. And
what does that mean?
Exactly. Do you get what I mean? Imagine you asking for a list and you're writing your list, and then you hear God tell you, Yani, you're limiting yourself to people who are alive. And I'm like, this is the most insane question. So at that moment, even I don't understand what it means. So I say, this list that I have, I know that najua sijui, I know that I don't know. Because if this is the kind of questions that the creator of the universe is asking me about interviewing people, I now know that I don't know. And I'm like, explain to me. He's like, who wrote the story of Abraham? I'm like, Moses. How many years did Moses live after Abraham died? Over 500. So how did Moses then write the CTA of Abraham? Because Moses is the one who wrote this living story of who do you call this guy? Of Noah, of Adam and Eve, of all of these guys. That book called Genesis, the author is written by a guy called Moses, who is living after they've died. Now, when you ask questions like that, unajua hujui, you have understand that you've limited God.
So Esther was also a fun time, man, and we've built a friendship and a kinship since. Shout out Esther. Esther kept time, Kibe kept time, Caliph kept time. So far, yeah, those are the guys who I'm a pilot, man. For me, keeping time is big, man. And of course, it's also a sign of respect, because that's anyway how I look at it. And I've been wired. My whole career, just you're wired time, and keeping time is actually being early. I'm always giving my producers here a grief, because I tell them 11, they come at 11. I'm like, are you guys crazy? Are you crazy? Coming at 11 means be here by 10:30. That's how time, in terms of always trying to be ahead of the game, putting your ducks in a row, seems to work. Then after Esther, we had Airman, our first Airman episode. My best friend and comrade Ricky. Wow, that one also had a mixed bag of reactions. So the whole essence of Airmen is to paint a whole holistic picture of the aviation industry in Kenya and beyond. I come from a brand of flying that's conventional. I fly for a major airline. I wear the uniform. I wear the suit and tie. I drag a suitcase. I am polished. When you see me at work, you'll be like, oh, that's Eric for every other time. Because it's a very different vibe that I have to have. It's a professional vibe. Of course, that kind of flying calls for that. And I respect the level of professionalism because it's tied to many other things, brand affiliation, etc. So, but I also want to demystify because I've also done another kind of flying. I've done bush flying, and bush flying is a whole other game, and it's as real as airline flying. So we got a cargo guy who flies Mira ops, cargo ops, as I like to call it. Mira guys sometimes feel shy because it's Mira, but they make the most money. You know, they have some of the most interesting flying. And Ricky was here with his, I don't know if that's a bun. What do you call that hairstyle, AJ? Where you have, just a very non-conventional pilot. Just put his picture and short video of him right here. And the steam for Mira is where you guys just wanna
assist.
you wanna do things. The guy is reversing, you wanna side him.
Why?
So I can imagine this guy is
I
waiting.
have never understood. Like, how is that fun?
It's amphetamine like. It's amphetamine.
But how is it fun to like sit in a parking lot and chew that stuff?
It's because it's a stimulant. Your brain is moving at 700 million miles per hour. So
Like, it looked like a bloody ruminant. It's quite.
we had back and forth about aviation, about life. We talked about politics. We talked about religion. We talked about the internet. One of my favorite episodes, actually, because not only did we paint the pilot, we painted the brain of the pilot. You know, there's so much more to the guy than the career. But also attached is his career that he's doing in an unconventional way. So we got to paint that. That was the first Airman episode. Then we had another Airman episode. My good friend, Captain Frederick Malu. Some would say a heartthrob. He told me his DMs were jumping, man. Ladies wanted to know, is he single? I got the messages asking, is he single? And I had to like kind of beat them off with a stick, being like, yeah, he's actually married with kids, as he said on the episode. So yeah, Malu painted a whole other picture. Malu is a professional Kenya Airways pilot, Captain 737. And he gave us the perspective of someone who has done that for what? He said 18 years in the airline, 21 years flying. So he painted us a picture of the training all the way from flight school all the way to where he is now, and also juggling some of the hardest headwinds. And headwinds not just literally, figuratively. We had COVID. COVID-19 came through and shook his whole world, and he talks about that honestly and honestly, and how it also shook his marriage, and how he was able to bounce back through a pep talk with his father. You know, just a holistic view of, you know, sometimes again, people see the guy with 4 bars, majestic in the airport. Behind that, there's so much of a story, and that's what Airman intends to capture. All right.
My mama usually tells me,
Your wife?
yeah, that she thanks God for Kenya Airways because the job put me on the straight and narrow. Yeah, because she tells me when you go on leave or something, it all hell breaks loose. It's too much. Go back to Jobo. And then COVID hit. And everything came crumbling down. All the companies were just tumbling. Me, my savings that I've put aside, I ran and at that time we didn't know who was going to put a moratorium. So I had mortgages. I ran and I paid this one, I paid that one, I paid this one. I'm left with no money. I'm like, they can auction those ones. But now I'm broke. I want you to understand. I'm now broke. All my companies are tumbling. Only 2 companies survived.
And salaries were slashed by 70.
At first, there was 0. Then we were being paid 18%. We were being paid basically to buy food.
COVID shook
So
things.
all this has happened. While this is happening, I'm trying to understand. You see, now I've been used to a certain kind of lifestyle. Mm-hmm. Now I used to laugh with, I was telling Mama once, I had a car that had bottles of 18 Glen in the boot. Because when I would go out, me I'm on Glen. And I won't drink the whole bottle. So I'll drink kidogo and then that's it. Put it in the boot. For like 3 months, that's what I survived on the backsheesh. Because now we're not flying. There is no flights at all. We are grounded. We are at home.
And then flying for pilots is also part of your therapy. So that's also been taken.
It has been taken away. So number one, I'm broke now. All of a sudden, I'm broke. I've used my savings to pay off the mortgages. I'm like, I was trying to save those houses because, you know, Kenyans and property, that's the best thing. I've literally, at that time, COVID has just hit. We don't know that it's forever.
Yeah.
We didn't know we would come out of it. So my career has gone because who's going to fly planes? At that time, we're not even
aviation
thinking.
was the worst. I think one of the worst
It was
hits.
bad. Money, like I said, is gone. Social life, the people who would have helped you, you can't even see them or whatnot because you've been told to lock down. Even folks, you're scared of going to see your folks because you're afraid. They're saying they're vulnerable. Yeah, they're older. Your support system has clamped down. Then now, like for me, I'm told this thing is not working. My guy.
I have some great Airman episodes lined up. You know, I want to paint the whole, and eventually, once I finish the different kinds of pilots, we also now move to engineers, and then of course cabin crew, ground operations, just for people to get a feel of what that's like. Then after the Airman episode we had His Excellency, or rather Rapcellency. Rapcellency being Prezo himself, man, and Prezo has a unique star power, man, undeniable star power. Like from the moment I picked him up, the guy just has this gift, and his gift is people, and he came through and we went viral, you know. And Prezo is such a genius. The genius in Prezo is that everything he said, he knew how it would actually end up. So if someone who's been behind the camera so much, he knows how to go viral at a whim. It's not, he doesn't have to concoct it. It's just natural to him. So we did that. Our TikTok is jumping because of that. Prezo and I now also have a kinship. Such a raw, safi guy.
You see, like I told you, Ruto is a protege of Moi, right? When Uhuru was coming in, he came in with a good intention. But then because Moi is the one who had the remote control, Moi was like, go left, go right. You understand? And then once Moi was done, you know, now people felt like, you know, you ever read the 48 Laws of Power?
I don't know, but I've heard several about it though.
Okay, I can break it down to you.
Go ahead.
In a nutshell. Rule number 1 says never try and outshine the master. You know? So now Uhuru, Ruto, and them lot were trying to live by that law, right? But once, you know, Uhuru got into power, he understood that, you know, the master is not Marehemu Moi, of whom I love and I respect so much. You've been to my office, you've seen his.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
But Ruto is trying to, you know, he's trying to mimic Moi, like those rules, you know, because Ruto, like he said, and I'm sorry, brother, this might bring your podcast to.
I'm good, man.
You know what I'm saying? But I can offer you some security. You saw them snipers out there? Yeah, Ruto is trying to implement those Y2K kind of movement in this day.
You know, Prezo, for me, changed my whole assumptions that I had about him, which also made me think again, because I tend to not be a judgmental guy. You know, I try to get to know people. But I kind of imagined what Prezo was, you know, and then I met him and I'm like, this is worlds apart, and positively so. So I think I haven't left anyone out, sir. I think I've captured everyone. Yeah. So that's the journey. That's been the journey to 5,000 subscribers, man. I can't thank you enough, man. Considering I shoot on my off days, sometimes it's tough trying to align everything. AJ he's a free agent, so when we're trying to align our days, my off days, with when is the guest available, the timings to work, for that serendipity all to come together, it's quite a journey, and sometimes it's stressful. But I love podcasting. I love putting out good conversations for you guys to watch. It's been such an impeccable journey. I thank AJ the Juice, Mike. I have a great team. I think I have the best team in Kenya, and I look forward to what the future holds. Now we're going to. Of course, we're going to 1 million, but we climb stairs. When you're flying a plane, you don't just take off and you're 35k feet. No, you climb. So we've hit 5,000 subscribers. Now we're looking for next milestone is 15,000. 15,000. We'll do another recap. And even as you've watched all these inserts that we've put in, we'll just leave you with some interesting short clips from the episode. Every other time with Eric, dropping every other time. I have a whole plethora of the most interesting people. Some are famous, some are not. But for me to pick someone to come on every other time, it's not celebrity driven. It's story, persona driven. Stay tuned every other time. I love you guys.